All right, rant time, guys. So we bought a brand new 2020 Chevy Silverado 1500 4x2, the LTZ package. So one of the top trim packages you can get for a Chevy Silverado. And as I've said in the last video, within 20 minutes of towing anything, even our Bambi that weighs max 3,400 pounds loaded, the transmission is ticking up to over 300 degrees. So we've been having a lot of issues, especially on the interstate. During these long drives, we can't control the transmission temperature. And it's just the transmission. The engine temperature, everything is doing fine. Oil pressure, engine temperature, fine. But the transmission temperature within 20 minutes is going all the way up to over 300 degrees. So it's a big problem.
It's actually really scary, especially on hills.
Hey guys, we're Seeking Tiki, and we're back for another episode, this time in Hollywood, Florida, where we make our way to Tampa for the Tampa Summer RV Show.
Woohoo!
All right, so in the last episode, we left Key West. Aww.
We love Key West. Bye, Key West. See you soon.
And we made our way up the overseas highway, this time going north to Hollywood, Florida.
Yay!
So as soon as we got to Hollywood, we wanted to check out it's actually the Broadwalk, remember?
Oh, yeah. It's not the boardwalk. It's very confusing. Really beautiful area, though, with a ton of cool restaurants, bars, shops, interesting people watching.
Yeah, and we saw this Airstream food truck right here, another one.
We did, a really cool vintage Airstream. We are always on the hunt for cool vintage Airstreams.
Yeah, so we hung out on the Broadwalk for a while and checked out some of the restaurants and, tourist attractions over there.
We did. It was really fun. It was a beautiful day. The beach there is amazing. The sand is just gorgeous. It's a really interesting place to hang out. And being from California, when we think of Hollywood, we think Los Angeles. So it was really fun to check out the East Coast Hollywood.
So we had kind of an early night. We have some big things coming up the next day, but before leaving, we had to check out the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
It's so cool, guys. If you haven't been, it's awesome. You got to check it out. And we're not ones to say, kind of go to a touristy spot like a Hard Rock in every city. But this one is designed and built like a massive guitar, and the lights on it are so incredible. They actually shoot up to space. It makes it look like the whole long part of the guitar. It's really rad, and inside was pretty fun too.
Yes, I won $1.
He won $1. He was. Have you ever seen that kind of enthusiasm for $1?
So we called it kind of an early night. Here we are, we're in the RV, and we're staying at the Hollywood KOA, which was really nice.
It was super nice, and especially it was a Journey.
I believe so, yes. So
those are usually a little more bare bones KOAs, but you know, it had everything we needed, and it was really close to town, and I was a little nervous about the area to begin with, but we ended up feeling totally safe.
All right, so the next morning we had some important business to attend to. And what do we see here poking out from above our Airstream? What? Is that a blue oval? Yes. This is what we've been talking about. We've been having so many issues with the Chevy truck. And what did we get? We got a brand new 2021 Ford Explorer ST.
Yay! What are we doing here?
So here we are, we're packing up all our stuff from the truck to the new Ford Explorer.
Goodbye, truck. Can't say we'll miss you. Hello, Explorer.
And here we are, we're recording this a few months after we got the new car. And the new car is doing great. It's obviously a smaller motor and it's a smaller truck, but we've had no issues at all. The transmission doesn't even tick up a bit, and overall it's been a really great car so far.
It was so awesome, and the people at the Ford dealership in Hollywood were so cool too. We actually I hung out in our Airstream in their car lot for several hours while they finalized all the details, and we actually moved out of the truck into the new Explorer right in the parking lot there. Someone actually came up to the Airstream and they thought the Ford dealership had our Airstream for sale, and they were really disappointed when they found out it was not for sale. So sorry guys if you're watching this. But we had a really great experience there, and it's just shocking. It's a much smaller looking vehicle, much easier to navigate in cities. It just seems like it wouldn't tow as well. It's such a massive truck, but it's been night and day.
So after we finalized all the details and signed the paper at the dealership, we were hungry. And
we do occasionally like to eat.
So we went to one of our favorite restaurants. We went to Houston's.
We did. We love Houston's. We used to eat there in Manhattan Beach in California every Friday. They actually knew us there.
Right here, this is our favorite appetizer. It is the grilled artichokes from Castroville.
We live for grilled artichokes. They're so good. It's kind of maybe why we go to Houston's every week when we get a chance. It's so good. Get a grilled artichoke if you haven't had one yet. They're not always in season and they can be really hard to find. But they're so worth it when you can get them. And then funnily enough, is that a word? Within a month or two of when this was filmed, we actually drove through Castroville in California. So we saw the land of the artichokes. So
very cool.
That'll be in a much later video.
And one thing that is a little weird, I must say, obviously this was on the Intercoastal in not Hollywood technically, it was in Fort Lauderdale, right outside of Miami. And it's obviously on the east coast of the US. So one thing that's a little weird being from California is you have to watch the sunset facing away from the water.
Oh, it's so confusing. We live near the beach in California. The sun always sets over the ocean. When the sun went to go set in this area, everyone turned around and wasn't looking at the ocean anymore. We were so confused why everyone turned around, and then put two and two together. We haven't spent a ton of time on the East Coast yet at this point, so just, you know, a random observation from some West Coasters.
We handled our business in Hollywood. Now we're driving back west to Tampa, where we actually drove through, because we are going to...
Da-da-da! The Tampa RV Show.
Yes.
But not maybe the one you're thinking of.
No, we went to the smaller one. It's the Tampa RV Summer Show, where we met...
Matt's Reviews! Wow, that was actually pretty good. Matt, if you're watching this, you should hire him.
It was good to meet you, Matt.
Yeah, it was so cool to meet him. Anyone who's really into the RV YouTubing videos has definitely seen Matt's reviews. And if you're interested in RVing and you haven't seen Matt's reviews, watch it, because he reviews anything and everything. It's really informative, and we've actually really learned a lot. And he was super funny and the nicest guy, so it was pretty cool to see him. But we had a really great time. We checked out so many RVs. I was really worried, to be honest, guys, that we'd get in some of these bigger RVs and I would have a little bit of FOMO for the storage and just space to stretch out. But honestly, one thing that I was really pleased about is it really reaffirmed the incredible design of the Airstream and also the quality of the Airstream.
And you had a Cuban sandwich for the first time.
I did.
Even though we've been in Florida for a while. Unfortunately, Airstream was not at the Tampa Summer Show, so we were in the mood looking at RVs, so we decided actually to pop over to Airstream of South Florida.
We did. And why weren't they at the Tampa Summer Show? There were supposed to be quite a few Airstreams on display that we were looking forward to touring.
They've been selling so many of them, and there's such a back order on really all RVs now that there was actually a large number of manufacturers that were not at the show, unfortunately.
They had no product to show. Basically, everything, RV sales were up something like 1,000%, something insane. And so many manufacturers simply had sold out of those products. They didn't even have models to bring to the show just to let people tour. However, we were undeterred in our mission to see some Airstreams. So what did we do?
Well, it was super cool to go to Airstream of South Florida, mostly because we've heard and seen on YouTube that there used to be the Airstream Ranch at this location where the dealership is. It's the old art installation where there's the Airstream sticking out of the ground, kind of like the Cadillac Ranch in Texas.
Which is super famous and unfortunately does not exist anymore.
It does not exist anymore.
But it's a historical site, right?
So here they have all the Airstreams in order that go.
Yeah, it was so cool. We've been to a lot of Airstream dealerships because we really enjoy touring the latest ones and seeing the different dealerships, and I always browse and try to restrain myself from buying Airstream products. But the one in Tampa was actually really amazing. They had an entire display of models of vintage Airstreams through the years. It was a very thorough display, and they had like a pieced up Airstream, so you could see how the chassis made and everything, see all the pieces and parts of a full-size Airstream, not to mention entire displays about all the history of Airstream on the walls. And then we actually met a really great sales guy there who talked with us probably for an hour and showed us one of the latest Airstream vans that wasn't even on the market yet at the time.
Yes, the Airstream Interstate X, which I'm sure you've all seen by now. Yeah, and we looked at all the Airstreams, and one of our favorite ones we saw was the Bambi 22-foot. It's still a single axle trailer, but you actually get 6 more feet from the one we have, which is the 16-footer.
I mean, extra square feet, that'd be fun. Goals, right?
Hey, goals.
Goals. Someday we'll get that extra 6 feet.
So we're now leaving Tampa on our way to where?
Disney World! So exciting. We love Disney World. We've been there before, but you got to go. And this will be our very first time. After watching a ton of videos on this will be our very first time going to Disney World in our Airstream.
Yes.
Meaning, where are we staying?
We're going to Fort Wilderness, guys.
Fort Wilderness! It's the one RV resort at Disney World. So for anyone that wasn't aware, there aren't just hotels like the Dolphin and the Swan and the Contemporary and blah, blah, blah. There's also one massive, massive RV resort that is almost like its own little Disney park. Dixie, what are you? That is almost like its own little Disney park all on its own. It's awesome. So we've seen so many videos about this. If you're someone who regularly watches RV videos, you've probably seen at least a dozen on Fort Wilderness, because you can never make too many videos on Fort Wilderness. So we're totally stoked. We love Tampa, but we're so excited to get to Disney World.
Yes, so we will see you guys at Disney World.
At Disney World! See you soon!
And to...
I thought that was a different episode. Which is...
I don't know the story.
I don't remember the story either, but I remember it was cool.